Hi, welcome back to the channel. Have Roots, Will Travel. My name is Lisa Elvin Steltari, and I'm very happy you've joining us. We've been exploring les filles du roi and les filles à marier over the last several years, and really getting to know these incredible women and telling their stories one by one. Today we're going to be featuring episode 261, so that means there's 260, which you can find, by the way, on my website. And find the ones that you're looking for, please let me know. And also, if you have any that you'd like me to feature that I haven't already done, please let me know. But before we begin, let me show you ways you can support the channel. The first three keep you in the know. Subscribe, like, and notify. The next are ways to help the channel itself grow. We have Coffee and Patreon, which are external platforms. I have my PayPal button as well, so you can have a look at that. And any way that you want to support the channel is very much appreciated. Thank you so much to everyone who has done so thus far. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So let's get on with episode 261. Today we're going to look at episode 261, Francoise Lefrancois. I just absolutely love that name. She comes to us as a viewer request, and when I looked in my files, my best friend, this is also her great-grandmother. So let's get to know Francoise a little bit better. Francoise was born in 1647 in a commune called Ouville-la-Bien-Tournée, which, by the way, La Bien-Tournée means well turned out or well expressed. So it's kind of an interesting, and I suspect that during the Middle Ages or when it was formed, it probably was something where it was kind of a beautiful town, if you will. Her parents were Antoine Lefrancois and Paquette Renard. Now, she is part of the Normandy region of France that you can see on the top of your screen. And inside of the Normandy region, we have Calvados, which is a département, and the small church, well, not so small, of Notre Dame, which I know is where she was baptized. And here you have kind of it has about 250 people living in this commune. And remember that commune means small town. Remember that in French. And you can see how agricultural it is. It actually is now part of Saint-Pierre-en-Auge. So it is no longer known as Ouville-la-Bien-Tournée, but that is the town that she would have been born into. So upon her father's death, Françoise would become a fille du roi, and she would arrive on Le Prince Maurice ship, and she would set foot in the New World on July 30th, 1671. She carried with her a dowry worth 300 pounds. And she also was given the king's gift upon her marriage of 50 pounds. The groom that she would select and who would select her, his name, ironically enough, was Francois. So there we have Francois and Françoise. His last name was Lavergne, and he was born in 1648 in Limoges, France. His parents were François Lavergne and Guillemette Perron. In case you forgot, her last name is also Lefrancois. So, I mean, we've got that thing going. Now, Limoges is part of the Nouvelle-Aquitaine region, and that you can see on the bottom map. And on the top map, you see the Haute-Vienne, where I've circled it, and inside of that you see Limoges. So Limoges is the capital of that particular region or county, if you will. And it was founded around 10 BC, so it makes it a very ancient city. Under the name of Augustatorium, it became an important Gallo-Roman city all during that time. Now, during the Middle Ages, Limoges became a very large city and strongly marked by the cultural influence of the abbey where the Dukes of Aquitaine were invested and crowned. From the 12th century onwards, its enamels were exported throughout the world. Now, in 1765, during the Industrial Revolution, the discovery of a deposit of kaolin enabled the development of the Limoges porcelain industry, and it's sometimes nicknamed the Red City or the Rome of Socialism because of its tradition of voting on the left and the workers' events it experienced during the 19th toward the beginning of the 20th. The church that he would have been baptized in is the Church of Saint Michel des Lions, Saint Michael of the Lions. And it is one of the main churches here. It derives its name, obviously, from the two Gallo-Roman stone lions that stand guard at the entrance of the building. Fabulous, fabulous church. You can just imagine the architecture of it, and you can imagine how old it is and what it has seen. So it's absolutely beautiful place, a place I definitely want to visit. We don't know when Francois would arrive in New France, but he was a mason and so presumably would become as a skilled worker, possibly an engagé, around 1668. Around 3 years later, 1671, is when he and Francois married in Quebec City, October 10th, 1671. They would make their home in Quebec City. It is the capital of the province of Quebec, and 500,000 people today live directly here. Quebec was originally named by the Algonquins, who named the area Quebec, which in their native language meant where the river narrows. Quebec City lies where the St. Lawrence River narrows. Samuel de Champlain founded a French settlement here in 1608 and called it Ville de Quebec, Quebec City. The city walls which surround it still date back to this time period, making Quebec City the only city with remaining city walls in North America. There's so much to see in Quebec City that speaks of this era, but the two that really appealed to me are on the top is the Maison Jacquette, which is the oldest private residence. It dates from 1675, and you can actually go inside because it is a restaurant known as Aux Anciens Canadiens, which roughly translated means to our old Canadians. And on the bottom is Le Petit Champlain, which is it purports to be the oldest shopping district in North America. And then there's a vintage map here from the actually 1950s. And then we have kind of an illustration of what Quebec in 1700 would have looked like. They would go on to have 6 children. Arnaud would marry Marguerite Dano and have 8 children, 4 of whom would make it to adulthood. Marguerite's mother was Marie-Louise Michaud, a fille du roi who we have not yet profiled. He then would marry Jeanne Gautreau and have 1 child who would survive. Marianne would marry Julien Quirion and have 4 children, all of whom survived. Just a small note, Marianne was 12 when she married Julien, who wasn't much older at 17. But again, this was the accepted age at that time. Francois would die at 17. Joseph we'd have no information on. Jeanne would marry Etienne Talon and have 13 children, 7 of whom would survive. Hélène would marry Jacques René and have 5 children, all of whom would make it to adulthood. In the 1681 census, we have François Devigne, who's a Mason, 32. Françoise, his wife, 40. Again, this doesn't seem logical or what we know, but there you go. And children are Arnaud, 10, Marie-Anne, 8, François, 6, Joseph, 4, and Louise. Louise would probably be Jeanne Louise. And we have 1 gun. Doesn't seem to have any property. He's a mason, so his profession would provide them with the money they needed. Françoise would pass away in 1699 at the very young age of 52. She and François would have been married 28 years, and by 1729 she would leave us 68 descendants. Now François would carry on. He would marry Jeanne Chartier, a fille du roi who we've not yet profiled, in 1702. She would pass away, and by 1709 he remarried for the last time to René Biret, who we did profile in episode 167, and I have the link for you in the notes. Francois' life would come to an end at the age of 66 in 1714. And we have a wonderful, wonderful story of Francois and Francoise in the very first volume, actually, of Nos Ancêtres. And I've provided the link for you to look up this biography. The Facebook group is our Free French Canadian Ancestors. It's from the book by Thomas J. Laforest, who wrote so many volumes, I think 28 volumes in all. This happens to be volume 1, chapter 13, I believe. And you can have a look for yourself and see the wonderful story of Francois and Francoise. And so ends the love story of Francois and Francoise. They were among the early settlers of Quebec City and truly helped build the strength of that area. And even though, like we've said, she left 68 descendants as of 1729, obviously they have grown and multiplied. We want to thank Francoise for her dedication, for her ability to withstand anything that life threw at her. We are honored that she came to our shores, and we are grateful for her contribution. I am also very grateful for my followers and patrons and supporters and subscribers. All of you are extraordinary, and thank you so much for being there for me. I really appreciate each and every one of you. And until I see you on the next episode, I will bid you au revoir.